A very good evening to one and all. I'm Riddhi, Assistant Professor at the Department of Communicative English, Ashutosh College. On behalf of my department and the Internal Quality Assurance Cell at Ashutosh College, I heartily welcome you all to Communicatio Lumus, our series of national webinars celebrating the power of language and communication. I'm delighted to welcome you to the fifth webinar of our series today, titled The World of Voices, Radio, Podcasts, and the Voiceover Industry. Despite the onslaught of television and new media, radio still continues to hold that old school charm. And for a lot of us, a career in the radio industry as a radio jockey is often the dream job. Our today's speaker, Shagota Mojumdar, a communications professional with years of experience as a radio jockey and a voiceover coach, is here to talk to you about the world of voices and introduce you to radio, podcasts, and the voiceover industry. Before we proceed, I request the organizing secretary Shuruma to please introduce the speaker in a few words. Over to you, Shuruma.
Thank you, Riddhi. Am I audible?
Yeah, go ahead.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. I'm Shuroma, Assistant Professor at the Department of Communicative English, Ashutosh College. Today, we are privileged to have with us Shagota Mojumdar, Professor, Radio and Communications at Comet and owner and curator at Boya. Having completed her MA in Audiovisual Communications at Comet Bangalore, Shagota Mojumdar pursued MA in International Communication at University of Leeds, where she was elected the Intercultural Ambassador for the university. In her professional life, she worked as a trainee journalist with the Times of India and trainee correspondent with the Hindustan Times before moving on to work with Big 92.7 FM as content producer, copywriter, and voiceover artist. She has served as senior producer and radio presenter with Fever 104 FM and as radio presenter with 92.5 Red FM. She has also worked as independent communication and creative consultant for startup organizations, radio consultant, consultant, marketing, and communication, among other roles. Shagota Mojumdar founded Boyam, a non-profit event curation and creative platform to promote fresh and alternative forms of performing arts. She has worked as the voiceover coach for the radio podcast show Confessions with Sunny Leone on Ghana.com. A recipient of the International IBDAA Media Award for Excellence in Radio, she presently teaches radio and communications at Comet Bangalore. On behalf of our department, I would like to thank you so much, ma'am, for being with us here today, and we can't wait to listen to you. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you, Shuroma. Thank you so much for the introduction. But there goes my formal introduction. What I'm going to tell you tonight is beyond my resume. First of all, I would like all of you. I would like to thank all of you because a Friday night is not really meant for a boring webinar like mine. It's meant for partying. But because of the pandemic, you're all stuck at home and you're stuck with me. No luck. So yeah, so I'll just make the webinar a little more interesting. I will tell you about my world, and through my story, I will tell you my story, and through my story, I will tell you the three industries. So, welcome to my world. Let me just share my PPT with you. So, my world is a world I called the world of voices, which say three moons. One is radio, one voiceover, and the other is a newly found moon called podcasting. It is important that I tell you that I have been an RJ, and once you be an RJ, you always be a radio jockey. So I do not have that habit of not talking without responses. So is there anything, if there's anything you want to ask me, note it down please and ask me in the end. No question is stupid, so ask away anything you want. But doesn't mean that I'll be able to reply to everything. I'm not Google. Okay. And we all hate boring webinars. I told you, very, very hateful this is. So like I said, I'm going to share anecdotes of my life, and I'll connect you with my journey through these three worlds. So here goes the story of my life. I was a journalist, a qualified one. Even before I finished my master's, I landed a trainee job with Times of India, Kolkata. This was way back in 2002. My first proper job as a journalist was with Hindustan Times, Kolkata. One fine day, and this is, I'm talking about 2005, I get a call from an unknown number. And this is 2005, mind you. So there's no true caller that I would know. So I was doing some work and I get a call, and there's this voice telling me, no offense to anybody, it just sounded like this. Swagata, you have been selected by the Highness of Dubai and Dubai Media City. Do you have a passport? You need to be here in a month's time for the exhibition leading to the Gala Award. Do you have a passport? I was like, stop playing prank with me. I mean, who will call me? International call coming to me saying this. I was so sure that a friend of mine is doing it. But yeah, I did not have a passport. And I used my journalistic abilities, influences, and I traveled to Dubai for this exhibition. The award was called IBDA. IBDA means creativity in Arabic. I was 23 and I was extremely naive. So here I am, the finalist of an international award, very famous during my time. And my first international travel happening, my first 5-star stay happening, and all this is being paid by the King of Dubai. Now, when I reached there, I realized my entry was the worst radio documentary on the exhibition display. There were many other countries. My competitors were from UK, US, Australia, and they had wonderful professional entries. And here I was. My documentary was actually done with 3 Walkmans. Do you know what Walkmans are, by the way? Sorry, I come from a prehistoric era where we used to have Walkmans and not iPods, and I had certainly not seen an audio mixer at that point of time. So I'm there and these exhibitions are happening. I'm giving interviews though, like a finalist would. So on the finale day, I know, of course, I have no chance. I mean, there's such great competitors I have. So on the finale day, I decided to concentrate fully on the food spread available. They had like huge food spread. So while I'm eating, they finally announce the winner of the radio category. And His Highness of Dubai on stage mentions that I have won the IBDA award, the most prestigious media award of our time, because of my content. So the thing I wanted to tell you is content is king. Bill Gates had said this in 1996. Why I'm saying content is important is because, like I told you, technologically, I was a big zero, maybe minus, and these countries were way ahead. Why I won the award that year and why I'm sitting here today talking to you about my life is because I knew how to write. And many of you here tonight know how to write. If you have the power of content, you can be king or queen, in my case. Yeah. So I kind of became a star overnight. I mean, big news channels covered my win. I was all over CNN, Gulf News. When I returned to India, I saw I was all over Indian newspapers, some of which you may still find if you Google my name. And this is 2005 I'm talking about. And I transitioned from being a hardcore journalist who had just started education, I was covering education beat, to a radio professional who's won an international award. And my award was to work with Arabian Radio Network Dubai. So I moved to Dubai from Kolkata. And this is all when I was just 23 and a half. Like I told you, content is king. So if you have the power to write, you must utilize it always. If you know how to, produce content, you have to utilize it. And the time is now. Why the time is now, I'll tell you in a while. I'll tell you a few more, the so-called achievements that I have done. I mean, why not? I have the platform here, and who doesn't love boasting? I love boasting about myself. So do you, I'm sure. So yeah, in 2008, I was the first employee, you could say programming employee of Fever 104 Kolkata. I have actually seen that place being built. I was the first programming employee. There was another admin person apart from me. In 2008, when Fever launched, I was a producer, but they made me a morning RJ. So I was the first RJ to go on air as well from Fever 104 Kolkata. And for months, I was like, Fever was doing very well because my show was doing very well. And Meera and Arnobi, you must be knowing them. They were always big and they were always pioneers and number one. But Fever came to close second for a very long time because of my show. I was also the first one to start a poetry show way back in 2008 in Kolkata. So a lot of firsts there. But to be honest, I had joined radio to be a radio journalist. At that point of time, this is phase one of radio and FM radio. When I'm talking about radio, I'm talking about FM radio, FM private news radio channels. This is early 2000s, so it's still coming, and only a few channels are there. I think the first FM radio channel was in Bangalore, if I'm not mistaken, and Kolkata Radio Mirchi has started. Amar FM I think also started that year. These were like very very early, 2003, 2002, 2003. So they were making a huge progress, and they were like really doing well, and Indians slowly had started to open up to different and interesting programming. I mean, here you were listening to Ye Akashvani hai, and then suddenly have a perky RJ saying, "Hi Kolkata, how are you doing? Good morning. What are you doing today?" And this shift was there, so they were enjoying it and they were loving it. They were forming a habit out of it. So just before the pandemic started, so you could say till about Feb, All India Radio reached about 99% of the Indian population, like I said. FM radio, FM private radio was reaching 65% of the population. And just before the pandemic, phase 3 of the licensing happened, and some 47 stations were added. And radio stations, private FM radio stations, now are 386 in number. Now, I've been talking about this licensing thing too many times. Okay, so I'll just give you an overview of what licenses mean. You cannot really have a radio station just if you decide ki chalo bhai aaj radio chalate hain, aaj radio kholte hain, aaj ek station khol dete hain. Doesn't happen, right? You have to. There are licenses that the government gives. You have to bid for those licenses, and they're like crores of rupees. So obviously it's difficult for you and me to open a radio station unless we suddenly find some really rich guys to finance us. Yeah, so phase 1 was when government is initiating into private radio. This is March 2000, like I told you. Initially only metro stations had radios, private FM radios, and like I told you, Radio Mirchi, Amar FM, Red 93.5, all these are opening up slowly in 2003. And this was the time when I was going to college, I think second or third year of college. And it was pretty interesting. And people who were teenagers, young adults were loving what was happening. Okay, the scenario, the entire scenario of audio listening was changing. Phase 2 came, and I'm a product of phase 2. Phase 1, I was just a listener. And phase 2, there were many other channels that started. Kolkata started Fever 104 FM, where I was the first employee for programming in December 2007. The office had nothing. They were just, it was just a structure, concrete structure. And I and another girl would be sitting there. And I remember one of the workers coming and telling me, Madam, if you go to the toilet, please take your bag and go, because we are scared somebody might choose, choose to lift your bag and run away with it. I mean, it was that scary. We had everybody around us whom we did not know, because it was under construction. So I was there with fever during that time. And like I said, I became an RJ post that. Yeah. So Meow FM, if you remember, Meow FM was quite a popular channel that time, came in there. Radio 1 came in a year later. Okay. Now, do you even know that in FM radio, you cannot actually read news? It's not possible, though it's ironic, because all the FM stations in their morning shows mostly discuss news. So they can have a discussion about what's going on, but they cannot call it news unless it is AIR. So that was pretty disturbing to many news conglomerates. They were owning stations, but it was very difficult, because we just couldn't say, there is a news reader, somebody is going to read news. And every other country had that. I practically joined radio because in Dubai, I was working in the news section of the radio station, and I really liked it. I was a journalist. I could write. I had a voice. I thought it was a good voice at that point of time. So I wanted to be a radio journalist. Never happened. Only promises by government. So this is the phase 3. I told you about 47 new stations have been added, and only AIR, All India Radio, can they can broadcast news and current affairs, though all the other channels, all the private FM channels, they talk about it, but they really cannot say news. They cannot call it news. So government kept promising for the last 20 years for FM radio, private FM radio news. Nothing happened. But during the pandemic, people started listening to radio much more, and radio became second largest source of news. So here, I'll just change the slide for you. Yeah. So what's happening is radio, FM radio, post the pandemic, and this data is the survey was conducted by PwC. If you can see on your screens, from March 30th to April 4th this year, the week the lockdown started. Now, people were listening to radio for 30 minutes, on an average 30 minutes, if they commute or something, they're doing something. And that has increased to about 2.36 hours in the last few days. And even more now. The data I have is only from March 30th to April 4th. Imagine how much it has grown. So AIR actually reaches 99% of the Indian population. It reaches every nook and corner of Indian villages, like very far out. TV may not have reached there. Radio is easy to buy, right? Like poorest of the poor people, maybe can afford a radio, but TV, not yet, right? So, and before the pandemic, it was about 65% population. They were actually, getting to hear the FM radios. Now it is about 82% people who listen and tune into radio, FM radio, every day. And last checked, government has still not allowed people to have, these FM stations to transmit news or have news shows. They've not done it. There could be discussions, like I said, but no. And what happened just before the pandemic is the industry had really hit its lowest. It was really going very, very, very bad. They had cash crunches. If you remember, I don't know if you would know, but many FM stations, they merged into each other. And some big news conglomerates like Anand Bazar, ABP, even sold their products like, their product is Friends FM, right? So they even sold that to, I think, My FM or somebody. Radio One merged into Fever 104. They retained some of the RJs, some of the staff, and hugely a lot of people were laid off. So this was happening just before the pandemic. But in the pandemic, to be honest, there is one industry that has grown, and that is definitely the private FM radio station. Radio listenership now touches the peak of 51 millions, and like I said, it has tripled during the pandemic. I'm talking to you about FM radio stations a lot, but I'm not sure if any of you have actually been to a radio station. Some of you might have, but I'm not sure if you know that, what goes on in a radio station. So you see an RJ who's just on air probably for 2 hours, and you think, wow, what a job, just be there for 2 hours, and all the glamour and being a celebrity comes for it. No, it doesn't. It doesn't. It is not a 2 hours job. It is actually a 24 hours job to be an RJ. And there's much more. I mean, RJs are just the face of the station, but the amount of work, hard work they are also doing, and the amount of work that goes behind the scene is phenomenal. And a radio station cannot just have an RJ and a radio set, a transmission set. There has to be proper departments. So like I said, I'm going to show you what are the departments in a radio station. Admin, every office has an admin. So a radio station needs coffee. The radio station has to see the AC is working. They need water. Admin takes care of all of that. They need to send cars. Admin takes care of all of that. Okay. Finance, they have to pay the bills to everybody. So finance comes in handy there. Sales. Okay. What do they sell in radio? Have you ever thought, what do they sell in radio? Okay. Radio's currency is actually minutes. They sell minutes in radios. So they sell time. Currency is time here. The time here. So what happens is a radio salesperson will sell some time, say, suppose a few minutes, and those few minutes he can take the ad from the person he's selling to and play the ad. And that's how a radio station earns money. So when you say, oh my God, they speak for 5 minutes and go on for ad for 10 minutes, just cannot listen, just tune off. Always remember, we get paid and our households run on that money. So please listen to ads, bear with us, So yeah, the sales department keeps doing that. Once the sales department sold me to Russia, it's a hilarious story. There was something called With Love from Russia that would run around midnight, and it was. I think the clients were the Russian tourism, and they said, okay, we like Swagata's voice. So they actually sold me for some lakhs. And then my show was so boring. We were talking about, sitting in Kolkata, I was talking about Russia all the time, what's happening in Russia. And that show was being transmitted in other cities as well. So, people would be like, oh, you are that Swagata. Like, acha. Supari tumhare upar nikalna hai. So it was like that. So yeah, those were the days. Marketing and PR, you would see branding of radio channels everywhere, right? So that's done by the marketing and PR team. They're very, very good, especially if you're in Kolkata and in anywhere in India. The marketing teams of all the radio stations are superb. I just love their ideas. Anyway, programming. Programming is what and where. Okay, somebody called Akash just messaged saying he remembers With Love from Russia. Thank you. I think you're one of the few people who remember that show. Even I wanted to forget it, to be honest. Yeah, so programming team is something that racks their brains, fights, stays in the radio station 24/7, works in half pants, and doesn't go home because they're 24/7, they are racking their brains over a good show and what the RJ says, how much to say, what contents to play, what music to play. All of it is decided by the programming team. Music management. I really wanted to tell you this, that the RJs are not the ones who play you good songs or play you bad songs for that matter. You have to blame these music managers. They decide. The playlist is already decided. It's just on your screen when you go to do the show. There are like multiple screens. You need to learn them, and you have a console in front of you. The playlist is not something to be handled by the RJ. It's there. It's made by the music manager. You can maybe request the music manager, say that, can you एक गाना मेरा बजा दोगे, मेरे शो में अच्छा होगा, ये गाना बजा दो. But in badle mein, you have to like take them out for a coffee or something. So they're like really very strict people out there. So music managers, music management team, generally there is one music manager, sometimes an assistant, and the programming team together. And the RJs, of course, they are just the face of the station. Trust me, their job is the hardest. They together form the programming team. I have made it to a separate department, but it's really not. It's actually together. So the RJs are doing their job. They are not the people who are deciding what to speak. Definitely, what they are speaking is on them or their producers. But what to speak is not for them to decide, or what playlist to play today is not for them to decide. So don't give your galis if you don't like the RJ or if you don't like what songs he or she is playing. Trust me, they are just doing their jobs and they have all very grumpy bosses. No. Radio bosses are very good. If you guys are listening, my bosses, no. I didn't mean that. I love you all. Yeah, so good bosses. Sorry, radio has some good bosses. And they're always there telling you what to do. So you can't really decide on your own. You can put on ideas, put forth ideas to them, but no, you can't really decide on your own. Now, my point. Okay, there are other aspects of a radio station as well. I must tell you this technical department. I think I needed these people the most. आज माइक खराब हो रहा है, कल स्क्रीन काम नहीं कर रहा है, tomorrow I forget my password, then something is not happening, and you just pick up the phone and call the technical people. They are like running around and doing this bit. And I think all the offices that I've worked for, the technical people were the happiest when I left, because I have troubled them so much they didn't want to remember me at all. So out of Facebook, unfriend and forget Swagata. Yeah. Transmission engineers, very important. Their job is grueling, to be honest, and they start their work much before the radio station goes on air. So I joined Fever 104 in December 2007. The transmission engineers were working. They were not from Kolkata. They were not employees of Fever 104 Kolkata, but they were working from somewhere else, and they were building the transmission way ahead, like 6 months into probably when I joined. So transmission engineers, they have to get the satellite, whatever. I don't understand those bits. It's a bit of technology there, and I'm a creative person. My technology skills are subpar. Maybe. Okay, yeah. So transmission engineers are the ones who take care of that, and together, all these departments form a radio station. So if you're not listening, if you're not getting good songs, and if you're requesting your RJ to play ye gana baja do, and then they are like, okay, sorry, can you, I have a different song for you today. Please understand that the RJ is saying that because there is a music manager who's going to give him nicely once he or she comes out of the studio. So that's not permissible, really. Once in a while, yeah. Okay. So yes, I told you about my bosses. One of my radio bosses told me this. Radio is not just a job. It's a way of life. It is. Once you have worked in radio, or you've been a listener once, okay, you never get out of that mode. You never. I told you, I teach for a living. I do shows for a living. I teach voiceovers for a living. But that RJ in me is always there. I'm like always hosting the show in my mind. I'm always that. And now when I listen to the radio stations, I'm fault finding. It just comes naturally. It's like radio has become a part and parcel of me. It's like a family. It's just never leaves. Okay, I have two promos from my time in Red FM, which was 2011. I left Red FM after this and I moved to UK to do my second master's because I had got a full scholarship to study there, and my dad had thrown me out of the house for doing nothing because he was not very fond of me for doing radio. So he just said very agile. And so I went to Leeds to study my second master's. So these two promos are from that time. I know there are a lot of non-bongs in this webinar today, but this is like a 20 second, 30 seconds promo. These are in Bengali. Just feel them. You may not understand them, just feel them, or maybe just concentrate on the voice or the music or something. This is what it felt like when I went on air.
ঘরের এক কোনায় একটা জানলা, পাশেই তোমার বিছানা, তোমার যত রাগ, অভিমান, অবিন্যস্ত থাকা সবটাই ওই নিজের গণ্ডিতে। তারপর হঠাৎ কোথায় মন খারাপ করা একটা গান।
এ শহর জানে আমার প্রথম সবকিছু, আর জানে স্বাগতা দিব্যি আছি ওর সাথে। তুমিও থেকো আমাদের সাথে।
দুপুর 2টা থেকে 6টা মন মানে নয়, শুধুমাত্র সুপার হিটস 93.5 রেড এফএম এ বাজাতে থাকো।
So I left radio. Could you hear that? I think you could. So yeah. So I left radio at the peak of my career with Mon Manena in the afternoons, 2 p.m. to 6 p.m. Red FM Kolkata. This was September 2011. I told you I moved to Leeds for my next course of life. But the amount of adulation I still get on social media is overwhelming. After so many years, people still remember me. They still do. And it's amazing. There's another promo I would want to play. It's from the same time.
সোম থেকে শনি শুরু এক গেম, পায়ে পায়ে হেঁটে চলে এক্স মাইনাস প্রেম, প্যাচ প্যাচে গরমে প্রেম অন দ্য রকস। কলকাতা কি বলছে বলুক ব্যালট বক্স। রেডিওর ওই পারে দুঃখ সব টাটা, মন মানে নাই দুপুরবেলা, আমি স্বাগতা। থাকুন আমার সঙ্গে দুপুরবেলা 2টো থেকে 6টা, সোম থেকে শনি, শুধুমাত্র 93.5 রেড এফএম এ বাজাতে থাকো।
This was the time when Red FM still had some Bengali content. I think they don't have it anymore. I'm not too sure. Okay. So, you know, I was talking about the love and adulation that I get. So 2 years back, I decided to collect all the love and adulation that I have got through radio. And there is this platform, the platform where I'm already a radio jockey. A few people know me, a handful of people maybe. They know me and they love me. They still love me. So I decided to create that platform into an interdisciplinary performing arts platform. And I've called it Boyam. Boyam is a glass canister, glass jar, you know, where you keep pickles or sweets or laddus, something like that. So yeah, I named it Boyam, where I promote fresh talents in performing arts. You can find us on Facebook, like I said. And thank you. A few people still tell me, you know, today there are a lot of people listening to me, and few of them are listening to me because they remember me from my time in radio. That's phenomenal, don't you think? 2011 was the last time I went on an FM, private FM radio on air. After that, I've done a lot of other radio jobs, but not like this. I was not live. So thank you. Thank you so much. Okay, so the next half of my talk is about the podcast industry in India. You know, guys, 2019 actually brought in heaps of awareness about audio content and kind of destigmatized the word podcast. The Indian podcast industry is all set to bloom thanks to the pandemic, and the communication is becoming more content centric with each passing day. Spotify, Ghana, JioSaavn, all these, Wink Music, all of these started as a music platform, like, a platform that only played music, and all of them have turned to podcasting platform. So 2009 actually has been a banner year for podcasting, and but podcasting has been actually around in Indian consciousness since 2014, I guess, when Apple published their first, podcast initiative. So it has been there from that time, but last year is when it really saw that huge mileage. Among all the emerging markets in the world, India arguably has the highest potential for a flourishing podcast industry, considering there is a widespread penetration of smartphones, reduced cost of data in the country right now, and variety of language of audio content consumption and creation. So with fierce competition in the market, the music streaming platforms like Spotify, Ghana, they all decided to go the podcasting way. In 2019, we also saw some biggest names in pop culture who became podcasters. Kalki Keklan, Neha Dhupia, Kunal Kapoor, Amitabh Bachchan, Anurag Kashyap, Veer Das, they all turned to podcasting, and they have their own podcast shows in some channel or the other. A lot of people made their podcasting debuts last year. And so did Sunny Leone, the most Googled celebrity who even defeated how many times the PM was searched on Google. So Sunny also started her podcast called Confessions with Sunny Leone on Ghana.com. Please keep your microphone off. Thank you. Yeah. So, and I had a huge role to play in her podcasting debut. So I was Sunny Leone's voiceover coach for a debut podcasting project. And I also wrote her script and voice acted in one of the episodes. Now I'll quickly play some part of the episode that I voice acted with her. This podcast show was actually about dark and intimate secrets that one wants to share with nobody other than Sunny Leone, perhaps. And this was season 1, and it had 15 episodes. And each episode actually spoke about one sin. Okay, I'll play the clip now, and let me see how many of you actually recognize my voice.
This is Confessions with Sunny Leone, and you're listening to Ghana.
In my new podcast, I help people to embrace their shadows, confess their dark secrets, and I try to bring out those wild sides that are suppressed by societal norms and rules. In my show, you are free to talk about it, just like the way our guest today is going to share. Well, I have never been happier to meet someone who shares my love for handbags and shoes. And what should I call you?
ना नाम तो नहीं बताऊंगी मैं. People know me. I'm a public figure after all. अच्छा, आप मुझे दिव्या बुला सकते हैं for the time being.
So your profile says that you are a fashion diva from Mumbai, a prominent socialite and an impresario, isn't it?
जी, वैसे तो मैं दिल्ली से हूँ, पर अभी बॉम्बे में रहती हूँ. I love what you're wearing too. So pretty in that yellow dress, yeah.
So tell me, what do you do apart from your love for shopping brands and socializing?
मैं actually एक businessman की wife हूँ. मैं उसके business में help करती हूँ. He is into organizing high profile events, you know. तो मैं उनका help करती हूँ इसमें. But to be true, मुझे मेरे दोस्तों के साथ शॉपिंग करना सबसे पसंद है. So much कि आप मुझे compulsive shopper भी कह सकते हैं.
Who is not a compulsive shopper these days, Divya?
Oh, I love jewelry shopping and yes, accessories mostly.
Me too.
जैसे कोई expensive watch या फिर कोई rare jewelry piece or anything that catches my eye, you know. मैं बहुत easily attracted हो जाती हूँ इन सब से और फिर मेरा mind बन जाता है that I must have them by hook or by.
So there I go. I see a few people have written Divya. Yeah, that Divya's voice was really mine. Yeah. So here is a photo with me. Uh, Here is Sunny's photo with me, or should I say, my photo with Sunny Leone. There you go. It was a fun moment. We had 2 days of recording. She's a thorough professional and she's a very good learner. I coached her well, I think, because it came out very well and it's been successfully running on Ghana.com. If you have to listen to more episodes, this was just a clip. You should go back to Ghana.com, listen to it and get in touch with me and let me know how it is, right? Okay, so like I was saying, this celebrityfication has greatly contributed to making the term podcast a part of everyday lives and conversations. Hear it from Miss Anna Doble. She is a digital editor from BBC World Service. So she says that when My Indian Life with Kalki Keknan started, they had really thought, and this I'm talking about BBC, okay, like world leaders. So this BBC thought that, okay, Indian market is still very new. We can have 20,000 listens per episode in India. And Kalki's show is getting 30,000 to 50,000 listens per episode. So this is how big the podcast industry in India is right now. So I would love to say that India is ready for podcasts. And how? What added to this podcasting boom? A lot of people have asked me before this, in a few webinars, a lot of people have asked me, why do you think podcast is becoming such a big thing? Of course, it's pandemic and lockdown. You have more time. You can do experiments with something new. Also, you have to remember that there are 1 billion mobile users with 96% smartphone users in our country right now. And that is probably one of the reasons why TikTok became so big. So TikTok was the video version, and we are talking absolutely about the audio industry here. I spoke about radio, which is an audio medium. I'm speaking about podcast now, which is, of course, audio. So the power of audio is immense. You just have to know where its weak points are or its pressure points are and grab it by the neck, These days, we also have long commuting hours. I live in Bangalore, and we have one of the, I think, pretty bad jams after Bombay. Bangalore, I think, ranks second in traffic jams. And in these long commuting hours, people either listen to radio, or if you're not fond of listening to generalized content on radio, you tune into your podcast, which is on your app, on your phone or something. There is also a cultural relationship that we have with radio. Bengalis will know Mohalaya is coming. Radio has been a part of our lives from inception. So it's there. So there is a cultural relationship we have with radio. So jumping to podcasting was not really a very big deal. Need for audio content, local audio content, focused audio content. Say suppose you're a baker, you bake cakes. You want to listen to a baker's podcast, and just that much. You get podcasts like this. So you can tell me what are your favorite podcasts if you want to. My favorite podcast is by Michelle Obama. I love her podcast. Okay, like I was saying, India is world's third largest podcast market after US and China, and I am not saying this. Google is saying this. Google podcast says that India right now is, of course, it's one of the top 5 countries that are using Google Podcast, but it is also there on number 3. So there you go. What are the famous podcast shows of India? Let me see, what are your favorites? Some messages up there. Okay, we'll come to your messages, but I'll tell you the ones I kind of like or India likes in general. So no India's Fat So. It's about body shaming. That's an amazing show, amazing podcast. Suno India's Dear Pari, which is about child adoption. Some parents or some people who are in their 30s may like it. Suno India Cyber Democracy is a very popular show among techies. BBC's My Indian Life, I told you how popular it is, by Kalki Keklan. IBM's podcasts, Cyrus Says, and this is Cyrus Brocha, so anything he says is funny and nice, right? So Cyrus Says is a very popular show. Mirchi's Sunday Suspense and Red FM's Ek Kahani Aisi Bhi have been made into they were radio shows. They would come on radio, and now they have been made into podcast forms. And now you will I think they are on Ghana and Spotify. I think so. There are many podcast platforms that host these shows, and of course there is Ghana's Confessions with Sunny Leone. Drum roll. Okay. Now, the advantage of podcasts is that they don't steal your time. That's why you can listen to it whenever you want to. So that I think is also adding to the popularity. You get your daily dose of news or your laughter or baking skills or motivation, inspiration, whatever you want. It's like for content is very concentrated. It's direct that way. Now, a lot of people have asked me how to create your own podcast. Well, creating your podcast is actually very, 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 very easy. But a lot of Bengalis have still not opened up to podcast. But, we will get there. Bengalis somehow have still not opened up to podcast. At least Kolkata hasn't. The rest of India, kind of, but Kolkata hasn't. But we are a culture of radio lovers, and I'm sure we'll go there. Come on, like many of you were not born when Priyo Bondhu came out. It was an audio drama. I'm sure you must have heard it by now. I was a teenager then, first year in college, and or maybe just out of 12th standard or something. And it was such a hit, famous content. Even now, it's an audio drama. Come on, there are so many serials that you've watched, TV serials that you watched, and this Priyo Bondhu by Anjan Datta and Nima Rahman still remains a huge favorite. So, how do you create your own podcast? What do? You develop a podcast concept. You start by asking yourself why I'm starting a podcast, and what is my podcast about. Once you've answered why and what, the rest of the concept falls into place. Then you choose a podcast format. It can be either a single host or a scripted story format. Whatever suits you. You record your podcast. Remember, you have to have a professional microphone. A microphone like a phone microphone like this doesn't count. So you have to have a proper headphone and a microphone. You'll get them in Amazon about 2K or something. And then you just publish your podcasts on Hubhopper and follow the instructions for the rest. If your episodes are getting 5,000 downloads, you will make money by selling your podcasts sitting at home. It is that simple. Only remember, your content is your king. Many of you here today can write really well. You can narrate really well. You just have to, you guys are millennials. You guys should start being entrepreneurs at this age. Be a solo skill entrepreneur. You have a skill, you have a voice, good voice, you can write well. Just make money out of it. Find out how to make. The entire world is doing this. And in this pandemic, a lot of people have lost their jobs, right? 20 million people have apparently lost their jobs. My industry, voice industry, what I'm about to speak next, is doing absolutely fantastic because first we have the home setups, we have home studios, and then we don't have to go anywhere. We are not dependent on anybody to sell our skills, right? It's my voice. I know the skill of voiceovers, and that's what I'm selling. So here goes my voiceover tips for you. I am the prominent voice for international brands like Gulf Oil, Cleartrip, for their corporate communications and corporate radio requirements. I'm also a voice coach for last 3 years. And some of my students I know, can see them, have joined the show today. Thank you so much for taking out time for me. And as I mentioned, last year in Bollywood, I trained Sunny Leone. What are my tips? When you hear of good voiceovers, you think of a baritone voice, like say suppose of Morgan Freeman or Amitabh Bachchan. So we tend to associate voiceovers with having really a great voice, but really you don't need to have a great voice. What I mean is you don't need a baritone. If you have a voice like mine, you can actually do voiceovers. A good voice, a studio setup, which is like a must, and the skill learned well can earn you fortunes from home. And during the pandemic, like I said, this bubble, the solo entrepreneur bubble, the solo skill entrepreneur bubble, existed. It did not break. It did well. What are my voiceover tips? Clear diction. When you talk, your diction should be clear. Your pronunciation should be clear, and you should not say pronunciation. It's pronunciation. So these things have to be clear. You have to be free from your mother tongue influences if you're voicing in a language which is not your mother tongue. So we don't even realize we have mother tongue influences unless you go to a voice coach and the voiceover teacher tells you that you have this problem. So if a criticism comes like this, you have to take it by your stride. You have to learn how to record well. You need to use a microphone, a pop filter. You have to know how to reduce the echo in a room ambience. Very important, all these things are. You also must learn how to record and edit your voice. And trust me, your phone and laptop recorders do not count. So this doesn't count. A laptop built-in microphone doesn't count. For a professional voiceover, and I repeat, for a professional voiceover, you must need a professional microphone, and you have to learn the skill. Only because you have YouTube channels where you've recited a few poems and you've got some likes on YouTube, and your friends say that you're amazing, doesn't mean you're a good voiceover artist. You have to take it from me. You have to work hard. It is a skill. Like in music, you can't learn in one day. Voiceover is also a skill. Only because you have a good voice, you will not become a famous voiceover artist. I have struggled for years to become one, and now I'm probably in class 1 of being a voiceover artist. Class 1, and I have class 10 to teach. Voice acting is not voice reading. Remember that. You have to articulate your voice. You have to sound natural, but articulate it. For character voices, you need to have that ability to change your voice immediately and quickly. Like I said, you have to take criticism on your stride. If somebody is telling you you're wrong, and somebody means a senior voice artist or a voice coach you are coaching, you're going to coach yourself to from, you have to listen to them. If they're criticizing you, they're doing it for good. Take it on your stride, practice, learn. And you have to start reading out loud with the articulation in mind. Learn how to master punctuation, where to stop, intonation, pacing when you're talking, how much pause you have to take, correct pauses, and tail drops. What are tail drops? You're talking, and the last word gets dropped in a way the others cannot hear. So it's like people say that I couldn't hear your last word. Is because you have had a tail drop there. So when you're talking, your sentences should not be I am talking to someone. Your sentences should be I am talking to someone, right? And some people have a natural sing-song, comes from your mother tongue influence when you're reading something. So your voice should not be like, voice acting is not reading. Articulate your voice, but sound natural. Remember, voicing or narrating and reading are two different things. You see how these sentences are ending in a similar type of voice? That's wrong. That's a sing-song. You should correct your habit. There is huge things to learn, and voiceovers are not something that can be learned on one webinar like this in an hour. No. If somebody is telling you, anybody for that matter is telling you, they will teach you voiceover over a workshop of an hour or a day, that's a scam. Remember, voiceover is like a skill. Like you cannot learn guitar in a day. You cannot learn how to sing in a day. You cannot learn voiceover in a day. You have to practice. You have to hear your guru. You have to practice. So if you can get a voice coach for yourself, well and good. Otherwise, Google and learn. Take help from senior artists, but learn. And I would again I'm ending the presentation now, but I would also again want to tell you that be a solo entrepreneur, guys. This is the time. Do not lose it. During pandemic, so many people have lost their jobs. Others have grumpy, bad bosses. Who loves bosses? Yeah, you just be your own boss. Sell your skill and be a solo entrepreneur. I'm telling you, it took me 35 years of my age to realize that I can not have a cushy 9 to 5 job and still earn money. At 35, I realized this. I'm telling you now, you guys are millennials, you guys are 20 somethings. Your time is now. Do it. Okay. I am done. The RJ is done. Now, maybe your turn. You can ask me questions if you want to. And if you do not have questions, that's also fine. Again, I am not Google, so I would not know all the answers. But if you get in touch with me with your questions after this, yeah, I'll be very happy to help. Okay, so shoot. Let me see who has questions.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for such an interesting talk. You brought back so many memories because the participants, they also became nostalgic. Oliva, one of our students, she told that your voice is an emotion. So thank you so much for such
Oh
an
my
interesting
God.
talk.
Try telling this to my husband, he'll faint.
No. They are really loving your presentation and
Thank you
they
so
all
much.
remember your program. So thank you so much.
Very humbling. Thank you so much.
I'm sure this has been a wonderful experience for all of us. Wonderful exposure to the world of voices. And we have so many questions. Ma'am, can I please request you to turn off the screen sharing?
Yes. I'm doing that. Guys, here's my website if you want to get in touch.
Please note down.
Yes, my email IDs are mail.boyam. Get the spelling right at gmail.com. It's also swagata@boyam.com. And I'm on Instagram. I'm very new to Instagram, but I'm trying to be a millennial. And I've opened my Instagram account. So if you want to join my handle, that's where you will find me. Once you're done, I can stop sharing screen.
So yes, we have a lot of questions.
Shoot.
Yes, they all are interested to pursue this career path, I must say. So the first question is, what are the most required qualities a student should have to be successful in this field?
You don't have to be a student first. You just have to have perseverance to learn if you have the skill, if you're born with it, you just have to have the perseverance to follow it. You just have to have that stamina to do it. After this webinar, I will have about 2 hours of voice recording. Imagine I've done this already for an hour, more than an hour maybe. And after this, I have 2 hours of recording, which I will record while standing. So that stamina also has to be there. So, to be a good solo skill entrepreneur, whatever your skill may be, voiceover or something else, you just have to learn, and practice. This is a good old formula, and there is nothing that comes close. Guys, and I cannot tell you that you'll be a millionaire in a day. You will not. But trust me, these voiceover artists, with years of experiences and practices, they now earn palaces, they go for foreign holidays, their households run on the money. You will make money, but not in a day. For that, you have to practice to learn well. Okay?
Thank you. The next question is, many participants, they have requested you to suggest some institutions or some courses where they can learn more about the voiceover industry.
There are lots in YouTube. There are channels, but I also teach voiceovers if you want to learn. I have my students, like I told you, some people have joined internationally today here on this seminar. But there are a lot of videos that you will find online on Google, on YouTube, how to be successful voiceovers, but they are all like, giving you baking tips about baking a cake. Unless somebody really unless you have a coach who teaches you nitty-gritties of a subject, you really don't learn. So I would suggest you find a coach for yourself. There are many in Calcutta. find a coach for yourself. I take online classes if you want to connect. My email IDs are there. And there will be some other courses online as well. You just have to look them up on Google. But I'm telling you again, do not fall for scams like learn to produce best voiceovers in flat 5 hours. Nobody learns in 5 hours. No. So do not fall for scams like this. If you only get a proper course, and a course like this is going to be expensive a little more, not like, 20 bucks thing. So find a coach, do your research well. If you're finding a coach for yourself, go on Google, look for his students, ask them, look for their career, whatever they have done, and then join them.
Thank you. The next question is, why does an FM station goes off air like 107.85 FM?
They go off air because you don't listen to ads, my dear. They go off air because they're not making money. It's very, very sad, but this is the truth. Even the same thing is for TV. When ad comes, you will just change the channel, don't you? You do the same thing for radio. If you continue doing this, remember your favorite channels will one by one close. They all earn by selling minutes. Like I said, time is currency for radio. If you do not give your 100% to radio, if you do not support us by listening, we will obviously one day finish.
Thank you. The next question is, how many years does it take to get a license to start a radio station?
You don't need years. You need potholes of money. No single person owns a radio station in our country. And I'm talking about a private FM radio station. Only companies like Times of India, Anandabazar, Hindustan Times, these people own a radio station. It's huge, humongous amount of money. You don't need, like, you can start a radio station if you have that kind of money. I won't make a joke out of it. You can start. You just have to speak to a few people who are experienced and form a team and just start. But getting the license is by bidding, and that happens as a government tender. So that's a whole ball game altogether. You have to know ministers in Ministry of Information and Broadcasting. I mean, officials there. Understand? So it is not mera aapka kaam, but yeah. You could start a ham radio. You could start a community radio. That's a different thing altogether, but that can happen. And these days, online radios are very popular. Maybe you can start an online radio station. That can work out. You can create a website for yourself. And I don't know how the technology works, but your podcast can actually be transmitted from there. And voila, you have a radio station of your own. Give me a job if you open one. Yeah.
Okay, the next question is, can you explain who is a radio journalist and how to be a radio journalist?
Yeah, unfortunately in India, you cannot be a radio journalist yet. I wanted to be a radio journalist. The concept of radio journalism is not there in India. Why? Because like I told you, Government of India doesn't allow news shows to be aired on private FM stations. It may allow, like if you call it news show, it will just stop it. It's illegal in India. You can discuss about something that's happening. You can discuss about pandemic that's happening. You can discuss about deaths that are happening or the new vaccine. But you cannot have a journalist or a radio presenter sit there and say, today's news, the Russian vaccine is going to hit the market in January 2021. You cannot have somebody like this. You can have a RJ talk about, have you heard that the vaccine is coming out in 2020 and wow, I'm so excited, but not a radio journalist. So radio journalism concept is not there in India. Unfortunately, it's there everywhere in the world. So if you, for your studies or something else, travel outside of India, make sure you find a radio station and apply there. All the best to you.
The next question is, in this, how to make audiobooks, can you give us some tips?
My voiceover tips have covered some of it for audiobooks. Audiobooks, how do you make them? you have a printed book, right? You're going to narrate it to make an audio book. So use my voiceover tips, whatever I've given you, for clarity. If you think you're still not there yet, you find a coach or you take tips from YouTube. You take YouTube tips, find a voiceover coach, learn from them, and follow the voiceover tips that they are giving you. And you can narrate the story and record it, and get a friend of yours to mix it well with music and put it up on YouTube. It's that simple.
Thank you. The next question is, in this changing era where technology development is at its peak, what is the future of the radio station?
Very good question. Very good question. You know, I'm an optimist, and I would love to believe that the future of the radio station is forever. It's going to be there forever. However, just before the pandemic, if you just search about radio stations, FM radio stations in India, just before the pandemics, they were in a very, very bad state, a huge cash-strapped state. And this is when they asked the Prime Minister to come up with some funds for the FM radio industry, to give them some funds so that, you know, they run well. But having said that, because radio is now slowly, during the pandemic, I told you, the listenership has increased 3 times. So I guess it will pick up again and it will run well. The technology you're talking about, people are using this technology and taking the old charm of radio and transferring it to podcasting. So maybe, maybe radio's future is podcasting. And, you know, because Google says, I believe Google a lot, and many big companies are getting into podcasting. I have a fair, I'm kind of sure that that podcasting is going to be the next very big thing in India. And I think radio will slowly turn its wheel towards the podcasting industry. They will both merge.
The next question is, the participant is saying, I run a YouTube channel. I want to enter the podcast industry. What will be the best platform?
Wonderful. Why don't you send me a request to join your YouTube channel? I would love to hear you. What's the participant's name?
I don't know, because we don't have names, because the student volunteers are selecting questions and they are sending.
Okay, great. So yeah, you know, whoever you are, please invite me to listen to your YouTube channel. Sorry, Shuruma, what was the question again?
Yes, so he or she wants to enter the podcast industry. So what will be the best platform?
I think Hubhopper is a good platform if you want to. A lot of people I see around me, my podcast channel is starting in October. I have still not started one. But a lot of friends I know, popular people, have started it in Hubhopper and then taken it to different platforms, other platforms. So you could try that, I think.
Okay, we got the participant's name, Naresh Ahmed. So
hi, Ramesh. I would love to hear your YouTube channel. Please connect.
Okay. The next question is, can you please explain about AIR hiring?
AIR hiring AIR hires in 2 ways. I think one is the permanent hiring that they do, and the tenders come out and advertisements come out. You have to apply the very old way. I'm not sure if it happens online. Maybe it does, I'm not sure, but you have to, it's a government job, so it's going to happen that way. The other way, the RJs that you hear, is where there are auditions that are announced. And if you go to their websites or in newspapers, sometimes you will see small ads about auditions happening for AIR RJs. If you go, give your audition, if they like you, you're selected for that particular show. But during my time, one show would fetch us about 800 rupees. I don't know how much that has increased now. I hear not much. So, and you get about 3 or 4 shows a month, I think, one show a week. You won't make a lot of money from AIR, to be honest. And I think you should try for, if you have, you have that skill, I think you should try for private FM stations. They also have RJ auditions going on.
Many of them are interested in podcasting. Some other participant has also asked, what does he or she, what should he do if he wants to start doing podcast?
Hey, I just told you that. Don't ask this question. I just told you this.
No. I'm just saying that they all are interested in podcasting.
Yeah. No, not to you. Not to you, Shuroma. This is for the one who asked. So
Okay,
I'm like,
okay.
yeah.
The next question is it safe for women to work as midnight RJs, late night at radio stations?
Is that a question in 2020? Really? Ask yourself, if you're a woman, ask yourself that. It is absolutely safe to work at any hour, at any given time of the day, or at any industry for a woman. You just have to know. And I don't think radio distinguishes between men and women. And if you have the skill set, you're respected. Don't have that mindset. You are millennials, don't have that mindset. Whether I'm safe to work in an industry in the midnight, why not? You're safe everywhere. Why think of Earth as an unsafe place? Yeah, we have to live in this world. Yes, you are safe. I mean, I'll add a small anecdote. Rater Kolkata, the Kolkata at night, midnight looks amazing. And the drives that I would have after finishing With Love from Russia at 2 a.m, every day from Rajarhat, where Fever FM's office used to be, to Nagtala, where I would live. Now I live in Bangalore, but at that point of time, I developed a bond with the city. I developed a bond with the cycle walas with chais. I developed a bond with the driver of the car. We would discuss about their worlds. My world was very different from theirs, and you get amazing stories. I think it is important to believe the place you stay in is safe. Otherwise, you have to live in fear.
Yes. So that's all we can do, right?
Yeah.
Believe the place. Yes. The next question is, ma'am, is there any connection? Is there any scope for PR in this working field where PR and speaking skills work together?
Oh, yes, dear. PRs play a huge role in radio stations. They do a lot of networking with the celebrities. So they are PRs as well as celebrity managements. RJs don't just really call people and say, "Kalke tumi amar show, come to my show tomorrow." The PRs do that. They connect with the media houses, the production houses, and they follow up with people. So yes, PR has a lot of work. PRs also write out our communication letters. You know what the PR job kind is. So yes, you get to do all of that. But I think you come under the umbrella of marketing. But never mind. Yes, there is a job for PR. Yes.
The next question which we have is, does shouting out loud reduce the quality of our voice?
Unfortunately, yes, it does. Your vocal cords are very, very soft, and these are muscles, really. So if you shout, you're actually harming your muscles. If you're a trained voiceover artist, if you train your voice every day, like when I coach people, I focus on the grammar of improving your voiceover, your glands, your muscles. So if you're trained that way, then maybe the harm is a little less. But say suppose if somebody a Tom, Dick and Harry suddenly starts shouting, they will definitely have problems with their voice, with their vocal cords. So that's not advisable at all. No.
The next question is, what you love most about the radio? What you love most about the radio?
Can you really point out something that you love about yourself or the person you really love? You don't, right? It's everything about it. But there are two small things I would want to tell you. So many years of radio. I worked for about a decade in radio, and at the end of it, I get to know a lot of people have really benefited from my show. Was a very motivational show. It was not it was about feelings. So a lot of people benefited from there. A girl I knew had left her studies early. She went on to Jadavpur University and the night courses and finished her classes, became an engineer. A person who was about to suicide has found my show very motivational and has stuck back to life. These are the small things that I have, have taken back from radio. So one thing I like about radio, I don't know. Radio is my life. It's my way of life, and I really don't know what I love about my way of life. It's everything. I think I'm a compulsive lover or a narcissist that way.
Thank you, ma'am. The next question is there any particular degree which we must opt to work in this industry?
If you're talking about radio industry, a media degree might help, but a lot of people I know have come from English backgrounds,
Yes.
like English honors, or for that matter, your subject. A lot of people have come from those backgrounds. You learn on the job sometimes, but a media degree helps. If you're a physicist, you can also be a radio jockey. It's not rocket science. You can be a radio jockey. So I wouldn't say that, a degree in radio or a degree in media is an absolute necessary. I think more than having a degree, I'm a double master's. None of my education has any role to play in me being a radio jockey. Nothing. No, there is nothing that connects. So it's absolutely, I won't say it's waste. You as much as you study, you learn something. There is always an insight into the industry if you're studying media. But you can also join from other streams. You just have to have that fervor and that positivity to learn something new.
Thank you, ma'am, for all the answers, and I hope this wonderful exposure we received today would serve as an effective doorway to a career in radio, podcasting, and voiceover industry. Now, before we sign off, I would like to request my colleague, Tripurari Bokshi, Kobida, to please give the vote of thanks. Over to you, Kobida.
Thank you, Riddhi. Thank you, Shuroma. On behalf of the entire organizing committee, once again, I would like to thank our esteemed speaker, Swagata Majumdar, for finding time for us despite her busy schedule. I also thank our college authorities, Vice Principal, Bursar, IQSC Coordinator, our teachers, staff, students of Ashutosh College, and all our volunteers who have supported us throughout the program. This would have never been possible. I also give thank each and everyone in the audience for being with us here today. Your overwhelming response to this webinar makes us feel proud and blessed. Stay well, stay healthy. Thank you all.